So what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Roliver Queen, back for another episode of Neighbor Watch. I know it's been a while since the first episode, but I figured this is a part of the channel I really haven't utilized to my advantage. So I said, no, fuck it. Just continue to talk with my neighbors about the shit that I love. And I invited my homeboy Elvis here today.
Hello?
Um, we're gonna be talking about Fast and Furious, of course, and our mutual love, DC Comics, because there's been a bunch of stuff happening there as well.
Exactly. So much amazing stuff. Shocking, actually.
Shocking! We have a crazy summer ahead of us.
A crazy year, honestly.
True that too. True that too.
I can't wait.
So where would you like to begin, Elvis? Fast
Well,
and Furious, DC.
let's jump into Fast and Furious because I know that's something that we both like, although we have a lot of differing opinions on it.
All right, let's do it.
I think
So I'm pretty.
I'm pretty sure
Oh, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure we agree on the number one spot, though. All
Oh, of
right.
course. Oh, definitely. Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift. Oh my.
Tokyo Drift.
Karate Kid with cars. All right.
Yes.
Karate Kid. All right.
Oh man. So yeah. So I mean, pretty sure you guys listening, and of course Elvis as well.
Hmm?
But Friday, I believe. Well, last Friday was supposed to be the release of Fast Nine.
Yes. I remember that. Oh, it's a shame.
Yeah, it's a
I,
shame.
I'm just glad that, we're getting the opportunity. It's not being completely put off the schedule. Usually you see a lot of movies just kind of just disappear and like, well, we'll find out later. But we have a set date. It's far enough in the future that hopefully by the time it rolls around, things will have settled down. I know a lot of companies are like doing, oh, November, December, September. Like there's
Mhm.
no way, no way.
No, no.
But like April, like or whatever, their Fast Nines to come out again next year. Hopefully, like, hopefully we get a shit together.
Yeah, I think that was a smart move for them too, because even when you look at what's been happening with New Mutants, that's just been pushed around all over the place. And I think what the new date is sometime in August, right?
August, yes. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think
I,
that Disney is only doing that just to like satiate fans, but like they're expecting. I'm pretty sure they have like when that comes around, we're not going to see it. We're going to see like July and be like, yeah, no,
yeah, it
Next February, something like that.
yeah, it's literally the mirror image of what they've been doing here in Boston with the stay-at-home orders. Because it's like we were every at least before a the ban got lifted, at least every couple weeks before the supposed date, the mayor would be like, "No, sorry, no, sorry, no, sorry." And I think it's exactly what's gonna happen with New Mutants.
Exactly. I mean, even in New York right now, we're lifting it by zones. We're doing like areas of like threat assessment. I think a bunch of stores, including one I work at, are like only opening like just this week. So who knows? But it's kind of insane. And again, it's something that you have to take the barometer of like people can't even go to like eat ice cream or anything like that. They're not gonna be able to watch a
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, no, it's and again by August, it's not gonna happen. And again, it just goes back to Fast and Furious Nine. It gives them more than enough time for the world, the economy, to get its shit together.
Exactly.
Maybe people will feel more comfortable by was it May of next year or April, whichever's supposed to come out. Maybe people will feel more comfortable, and maybe things won't be back to normal 100%. But at
Yeah.
least it'll be enough where people be like, you know what, things are okay. I'm gonna go see Fast and Furious, and best believe I'm gonna be the first one in that fucking
Exact. I
line.
am there. I don't care if we have. I don't care if they let like only like 15 people in at a time or something like that. I'm gonna wait in that line. I'm just going to just wait it out, however long I need to, because
Oh,
you see like theaters trying to figure out how to like manage blockbusters. Like, oh yeah, leave every 15 seats empty, that kind of shit. Like, so I don't give a shit. I'll do it.
yeah, I'll do it too, man. Like we like it sucks because I don't want to say Fast and Furious has gotten the New Mutants treatment, but it's like this movie was supposed to come out a while ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it first got pushed back because of Hobbs and Shaw,
yeah,
and then now it got pushed back because of the coronavirus. So here's to hoping, we can finally see the next chapter next
yes.
year.
And then they'll wait for Fast 10.
Oh,
Like that's the thing. That's the thing. That would have been Fast 10's release date. They had the slot open for Fast and Furious, so it was really easy for them to say, "We'll just push it to that one."
yes,
So we not only is the wait longer for Fast 9, it's also affected Fast 10.
yes, and potentially Fast 11 because Diesel was talking about maybe splitting it into two parts.
Exactly. But he said the
So,
same. He said the same thing about like 6 and 7. So
oh really?
yeah, I think yeah, when we were doing the that video we did, um, I had shown that like Diesel was talking about how 6 and 7 are like two-part story, or 7 was meant to be a two-part because he thought it was like a really expansive story and plot for the characters. That's why it has like a lot of like finality to it. Like a lot of that
Mm.
obviously was added afterward after like Paul Walker's death. They wanted to like set the a tone for the next chapter, but a lot of that was Vin Diesel wanting it to be like a conclusive kind of two-part movie. Uh,
Oh.
so yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with that is, even I think I mentioned on my stream as well. It's like we've seen we've seen Avengers Endgame. That was their big finale, and then most recently we saw Crisis on Infinite Earths, and that was their big, well, I guess you could say quote unquote finale. But I was severely left underwhelmed for both.
Oh yeah, no, okay. Crescent Infinite Earths, I I can't abide by it because Endgame or something like that, something similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can understand why it might falter because it has so much things to do. I think it
Mm-hmm.
could have handled it a lot better, but I understand why it's not that great because
Yeah.
it has to play up to all the expectations, and it's has to use its own story, its own
Mm-hmm.
history, the stuff that only the MCU has. Uh, but with Christ and Infinite Earths, you have like the blueprint, like right there, and it's easy to use. It's easy to do, and they ignore it.
Oh
Oh,
man.
I think seriously, the biggest example of this is Barry Allen and the
Mhm.
the Flash death.
Oh
Uh,
my God.
because okay, for one thing, right? They messed up from the get go. One by making Barry Allen the most unlikable character ever. But strike two was when that season began. They made it the point like Barry knows he's gonna die. So like if he knows he's gonna die, it strips away all impact and weight from it. You're like, oh, like when you don't know you're gonna die and you put in a situation, it shows like who your character is, like who you really
Mhm.
are. Like when Barry was in the comic, he's about to die. He doesn't know it. He just knows he needs to do something and he does it and he
And
doesn't care.
exactly.
Yeah. But like when you know you're gonna die, like, oh, I better spend like 8 episodes trying not to die.
Oh.
Like
Or
who gives
or hanging out with my friends.
exactly. Or and but then strike three, right? Is that like okay? So Barry Allen isn't the most heroic character. He's not the most likable character. He's kind of a douche.
Mhm.
Um, but who cares? We followed him for 5 seasons, 6 seasons or whatever. So we have a connection to him, and so even just seeing him die, that would be like powerful, right? No,
Yes.
let's just give it to. They just make his dad die for the third time.
Oh my
The third
God.
time. Like they keep doing this. Like they keep whenever they need like easy, cheap emotion, they kill off his dad.
It's like when I saw that scene, I was like, "Are you serious? Are you fucking serious?" It's like, and honestly, I feel like they had that blueprint, but also at the same time, um, if they were to kill off Barry Allen, I feel like that would have opened the door for them to. I think that really would have put the writing team to the test. Like,
Exactly.
what can you do without Barry Allen?
I mean, just the rest of the season. Even if you're not like season finale, bring him back, you know.
Yes,
But
yes.
just use the rest of the season to like explore that, like Superman wasn't dead for a long time. He was dead for like maybe like little bit more, a big chunk of a year. Superman was dead, but like he eventually came back. So at least play with that. Make it Barry Allen's Death and Return of Superman. You know,
Yes.
like the best part of Death and Return of Superman, the entire saga, I love it. It's my favorite Superman story of all time.
Mhm.
Is the World Without Hope and Funeral for a Friend segment, which is like 80% of it. It's beautiful. It's full of so many like issues and stories and little subplots of like people every day in Metropolis, be it like side characters or small people who only appeared like once before in the
Mhm.
run, like just dealing with the loss, and it's magnificent. And they couldn't even do that. They just like, oh, we gotta keep this guy around.
It's like honestly, I know. Um, I know Arrow season three got a lot of flack, but I think one thing that they did do well is like Oliver was gone. Like, yes, he was dealing with Raj, and he was dead, but he was gone for a good string of episodes. And one thing I really enjoyed is just like the writing team really used the time to make the other characters shine. Like Star City was in good hands, and you can still feel the loss or whatever, but you really felt that Oliver was gone, and the the, the team could function without him. But whatever, I noticed it's a repeating pattern with the Flash. It's just like you take away Barry Allen, and they have everything just right in front of them to do something great and something new. What do? Let's bring them back as soon as we can.
It's insane, and it's like the second time that in that it's the third time they kill his dad, but it's also the second time that they've killed Barry Allen and not killed him because they did this exact same scene in like season two, where someone makes like a dimensional engine right
Mm-hmm.
in the sky, and and it's like creating like a crisis event in the air, like
Yeah, I remember that.
right, and then like Barry has to like go back in time and he goes back in time, and so he lets his past self kill, like take the sacrifice. And again, that's one of the things is that Barry Allen is kind of a piece of shit. Like he can't do it himself. Like like the thing is right. That scene is like a lot more close to the comics in emotion. Like I actually felt bad for the clone because like it's that high intensity emotion. It's like okay, we gotta stop this thing right now. You gotta do it right now, and it's like a huge turbine, and you're just going around. You're running in circles. You're just like, and he disappears.
Mm-hmm.
He turns to like crumbling ash and everything. Meanwhile, in the what we get in Christ on Infinite Earths, it's like one solitary, boring ass room with a treadmill in it.
That's it.
Like what? Did they realize that they fucking wasted their load in like season two, and they couldn't redo it again? Because like then don't do it in season
They
two.
don't do it. It's
Because
but
that's the thing with the Flash. The first couple of seasons, which is why I stopped watching, is that it only works on references. Like it tries to get like the comics people to enjoy it, but they see this is just like the comics. But that's all it has. And
mm-hmm.
so it's like, oh, if we put this scene that's like Crisis on in this random season two episode, the nerds will love it.
And
Fuck.
it's just a mess, man. Like, and that kind of just brings me back to like the first question I kind of want to ask, just like, do you think if Fast and Furious was to do a two-parter for number 10 and 11, do you think they could bring it home in a way that Crisis or Endgame couldn't? Do you think like Vin Diesel, whoever's writing, do you think they can do it? Because
Yes. Yes.
I feel like for me it's a way smaller cast. And even with the spin-offs, like the universe is big, but then again it's not. So it's like everything can be self-contained, and you can wrap up
Of
multiple
course.
stories.
I feel
So
like with that, it can do a two-part story, but I also think that like I said, 6 and 7 are pretty much a two-part story.
yeah.
That was the intent there. That was the plan. Um, so I feel like at that point, like I said, I think I mentioned this is like 4, 5, and 6 went to like a Vin Diesel trilogy or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course they added 7 to like add more finality to that. And those are two separate stories. They feed into each other like
Yeah.
directly, but they're two separate stories. So I feel like even if they made like a two-part plot, like a mega finale thing,
Mm-hmm.
like it would still be just like as explosive and as like kind of satisfying as every single one of these, because if there's one thing that like the producers and showrunners, for lack of a better word, handlers of this franchise know is how to keep the plot and the story and the
Mm-hmm.
characters moving. I don't think we would have like half of a story in one. I think we would have like a pretty good like like finale or something substantial and satisfying.
Yeah, I honestly, yeah. Again, I feel the same. It's cool at the same time too, because it's like, even when they're bringing back Han, like if I was keeping as close tabs as I wanted to, before we did that video, I feel like I could have seen them bringing back Han. Because literally, when I was doing the research, like there were just like subtle hints. So you can say, like, oh, maybe they're gonna bring back Han. But because I didn't do that, and then I saw Han in the trailer, I'm like, holy shit!
I never thought they would. I honestly, I always thought like hopefully we'll see more of Tokyo Drift stuff again because like that stuff, like it's been so neglected. It was even neglected like in Furious 7.
Yes.
Like that was it was really neglected there. Like I feel like that's untapped potential. So I was wondering like when the next one is actually gonna deal with it. So I always thought that was a possibility, but Han, I thought like it's such a bold move. Like if it has to be as entertaining as like as engaging as it has to be to make it worthwhile. It's cool, but I need to see that on the screen.
Yeah. And for me, it has to make sense. And I've been listening to Songs Garage. That's what it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah,
So it's the guy who plays Han.
yeah.
And he's with every single episode that they talk about Fast and Furious. Like he's reassuring us that like this isn't just this isn't just fan service. It
Yeah.
makes sense.
I mean,
And
yeah.
and I'm literally so excited for it because it's like, not only are you bringing back Han, you're bringing back Twinkie, you're bringing back Earl, you're bringing back Sean,
The Drift King.
the Drift King. It's
We need to see. We need to see. Like I said, like if this, like if this is what I think, where it bleeds into Fast 10, we're getting like a sprinkling of Han in this one, and then we're gonna see like the actual reason he's going to be in these again, like Blossom in Fast 10. Then I hope we see like a lot more of that. I hope we actually use Sean. Like he's not just there. Like a Han will probably probably be important to like the story because he's been in like almost all of these at this point, as much as like Vin or like anyone else secondary to Vin.
yeah,
But stuff like Sean and Earl and Twiggy, it's fun to have them around. But I also want them to see them. But I also want to see them be used.
yeah,
Like that's the X factor for me. Like it's great to have Han again, but we've had Han for like 5 movies.
yeah,
I want to see like Sean use his skills, like be a part of like any kind of crew, like good or evil. I want to see him on the road, like in the action. That's cool.
yes. And same, and also too, it's just like you said before, the Tokyo Drift like world is just there's so much more they could have done even after that. So while I do want to see, Han and all, not Han, um, Sean and all of them do their thing, I also want to figure out just like, what's been happening in Tokyo since, Sean became the Drift King.
Yeah.
I even have, my suspicions that, the old DK is going to be involved because I feel like he's somehow connected to what happened to Sean. I mean, what happened to Han in Tokyo Drift, and possibly why he's back. It's like there's so much they can do, and
exactly. And it's something so weird when we're watching Tokyo Drift. It's like a whole side of like what Han's role in that like society and environment is. That's so like undefined. Like he's like such a random player in the events. Like he has connections to like the yakuza and all that stuff, but he's not really with them. He has connections to like pretty much everything, but he's always like a third party. And like what's going on there? Like what they never really explain it because after like 30 minutes he's gone.
Exactly.
Like he's just there to get the plot moving to give like Sean his Obi-Wan moment, like from Star Wars, like Luke like
Yep.
avenge him. But that's it. Like so there's so much. You can make a movie just about Han in Tokyo, like a prequel, interquel.
Dude, I feel like because of the response that people have had for Han coming back, they'd be dumb not to do it. And you know what?
Here's my idea. Here's my idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I've been thinking about this actually. It would be like half prequel, half sequel to Tokyo Drift. right? It'd be
Mm,
like The Godfather Part Two, all right? Where like you have like Sean like now being older. Like let's just say that he's as old as he actually is. Like it's been that long,
yeah,
right? Like he was like 17, 16 in the first one. Now he's like mid 30s,
yeah.
right? All right, let's ignore let's like let's not ignore it, but let's just be its own entity, like its own actual sequel. And
Hmm.
then so you have him dealing with being old and still being in his life and just catch up to where he is. Maybe it's like catching up with him. Maybe like the law or like the world or like it's like kind of Dark Knight Returns, you know,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. Like he's old, and it's not like a young man's game. Um, but then you also like go back and forth between that and like and Han first coming into Tokyo and like how he makes his world, he makes his way into that world. So you have the contrast, like Godfather Part, like
Oh.
Godfather Part Two has like Michael Corleone, played by Al Pacino, like kind of losing himself
Hmm.
in the mob, and then you also have like flashbacks to like Robert De Niro as young Don Vito, his dad, like also like making his own way and like building the empire that Michael's losing. So you have the contrast.
That would be killer. They could do it.
I mean,
It's
no one would really second guess Han. He still looks pretty good.
yeah. Oh, of course. I mean, even with the way technology is right now, if you got to make them look a little younger, fuck it.
Yeah,
But and honestly, like let's just say for whatever reason, Universal is still kind of iffy on doing something alongside doing something as like a branch off from Tokyo Drift because we know how poor that movie did.
yeah,
I mean, dude, you can put that show on HBO, you could put that show on Stars. I don't know, but I think people would want to see it. Like
yeah. No,
Han,
like
like Han alone has such a huge fan base. It seems like ever since Tokyo Drift, like it's people who didn't care about Han, but then they saw him again in Fast Four, and then they just seen his story. It's just like his popularity has risen. So if you say, yeah, we're gonna do a Han sequel, I mean, or like a Fast and Furious, prequel sequel, and then you find out what happens with Han, people would be behind that. I'd be behind that.
yeah, no. It's like it's such fertile territory, and like it's like even if that doesn't happen, I want to see at least them approach it in Fast Nine or Fast 10,
Mm-hmm.
because like again, if it makes sense, if it's not just like fan service or a gimmick, then this is stuff that you need to actually put thought into, and I hope they have. I really do.
Yeah, and I think that was actually the fact that they didn't touch on that in Hobbs and Shaw. That's one of the main complaints that I saw, when I was, looking at the reviews after I watched the movie, of
Mhm.
course. So it was just like, you know, this doesn't feel like Justice for Han. How come Han only got just a reference? Like we really don't see, the aftermath of him doing whatever he did in Tokyo. So I feel like there's a lot of weight on Fast Nine just off the strength of that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, we know The Rock and Jason Statham aren't going to be in Fast Nine? Well, suppose, but do you believe that to be true?
I believe that Steven will probably show up. I don't know if it's gonna be like the end or like a post credit scene like Furious 7, but there's no way they bringing Han back and you're not bringing Steven at least for like a small little cameo or anything like that. Or maybe we're only gonna see his face. Like there might be even like talking about him on like one of their high tech spy billboards or whatever. He's
Mm-hmm.
gonna pop up. He's gonna be a presence. Like the first thing out of like the first couple of things out of like anyone's mouth is gonna be like about that situation. You can't sidestep save him.
Yeah, no,
The Rock,
no.
I don't think so.
Yeah, well, given what's been happening, because I feel like The Rock in terms of Han and all that. Like, yes, we have Hobbs and Shaw, but I feel like in terms of what's happened with Sean, he's such a small part. But yeah, I can definitely see um, Shaw coming back, or if not coming back, a picture or something, or
Exactly, exactly. He's gonna have a presence here. He's definitely gonna be in Fast 10. I have no doubt. Because again, my main feeling is that just on what we've seen from the Fast 9 trailer, which wasn't a lot, I don't think that Han's plot is going to be that important because it's all about like Cypher. You saw the deal with Cypher,
yeah,
who's a villain I don't like at all. It's such
really.
a stupid villain. Uninteresting, uninteresting. All right. Like it's just oh my god, everything about Furious 8 made me want to like to cry with laughter. Um, and not in the good way. Well, yeah, no.
That movie wasn't great.
No, it
It
was
was
bad.
not.
It was so bad. Poor Elena. What did she do?
Yeah,
She
she didn't deserve to go out like that.
she died for just having sex with Dom, which the crime, unforgivable crime there.
I mean,
Oh, the
I
baby
mean,
is still old.
when I saw the movie, like I was surprised she came back. I was like, okay, cool, Elena came back. But I was just like, y'all didn't like that, bro.
It's so pathetic and weird. It's like pitiful and kind of disturbing because like she shows up like kidnapped and bruised and obviously like beaten, and then the next scene she's killed.
She's dead. It's
Like
like,
it's weird. It's weird. And like I guess Cypher's whole gimmick is just like it's an extension of all the stuff I don't like. That's one thing I liked about Furious 7 is that it felt like a return to like actually being a heist kind of thing.
mhm.
Like it wasn't really, but it had the kind of same energy as that.
Yeah,
Um, and that's why I really like. But Furious 8 was like, oh, let's just double down on the spy stuff. Like that's not why I'm here.
yeah, no.
It's not like and then you have like Shaw's redemption arc. Both the Shaws, the Shaw brothers, like we
Oh,
gotta save the baby. This is how the audience knows we're good
oh,
guys now because we saved the adorable baby.
dude. Like so here's the thing. I first saw Furious. I first saw Furious 8 on bootleg because I wasn't able to make it to the theaters. So when I first saw it, I was just like, cool. And then I watched it again. I was just like, yo, what the fuck is this?
Oh my God.
I was like, so
And then their
you're telling
brother
me
is part of it too. Oh my God.
I was like, why would you why would you do this? And like, I read the interviews and supposedly, they knew the flag was coming and whatever, but they said it's all gonna make sense. But
No,
still, it's just like
it doesn't. It's like, oh, my brother was framed by Cypher, and that's why he became an international killer and the mass murderer and terrorist. And just had to help him. I also became a mass murderer, terrorist,
it,
killer.
it
Like,
doesn't
no!
make sense.
Now that you know that it was all because Cypher framed us for one thing, it solved us all of our sins for like the last 20 years.
And
Oh my God, it would have been so much worse if Paul Walker had lived and
oh,
and they had kept in that plot beat that was supposed to be in Furious 7 where he like gets injured or died. Like
oh,
there's a bunch of rumors about it, but like the basic thing is that like Paul Walker's character was not going to be in good shape after Furious 7.
oh,
Like people there's people saying that he would have been like in a coma or dead. Um but like if that had happened and then we got Furious 8, even worse.
no, oh, dude, whew. Dude, like, and speaking of that too, the whole Shaw and Cipher thing. It's like when I was watching Tokyo Drift, like I don't know if you noticed it, maybe you did, but in that split second before Han gets run over, like you see DK just like glaring. It's almost as if him
Yeah.
and Shaw like planned this entire thing.
I
And then
I would not be I would definitely not be surprised by that. Like I said, Han's role in like society in the world is very iffy. So he probably dropped the dime on him.
yeah, and then but then when you watch Furious 8 and then you figure out why he's doing what he's doing, I'm just like, man, if you don't get this nonsense out my face, like it was easily one of
It tries too hard. It tries too
it's
hard.
cheesy. It's too
Yeah,
cheesy.
yeah, exactly. It's silly. It tries too hard. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon. It's like Avatar: Last Airbender. All right, like except like if Zuko had killed people, you know.
Yeah, and also too like Furious 7, Furious 7 was full of cheesy one-liners,
Of course, but
but
it was in keeping with the series.
yeah, but this was just like it was just like let's just bring the cheese factor to something else. Oh yeah, oh the story, which makes when you watch Furious, it's just like it feels so. I want to say you can almost skip it to a
Yeah,
sense.
nothing happens in it really. Like again, it's the only thing that's important is that Dom has a kid, but Cypher's plan isn't really that important. Her threat level isn't that important. anything developed doesn't really happen. Like, the only thing that is in service of this is giving Dom a kid, but no strings attached.
Yeah, literally that's it.
You could have made like a 2 minute short film of like Elena, dropping the bundle of baby at Dom's doorstep and they getting run over by a car, and they would have the same effect. The
And
exact same plot would have happened.
even so, I mean, it's not like they haven't done it before. Because how many like shorts do they have? They have
They've like
the Los Bandoleros. They
yes, and
have
they had two coming too soon, shit like that. The one
yeah, like you could have you could have done something there. Oh my gosh, that movie is just
it's nonsense.
oh man,
It's
it's nonsense.
yeah, it's once and worthless. And again, this is where we kind of disagree a little bit. But I blame The Rock.
You really?
I blame The Rock, and I'm gonna blame John Cena. Fast Nine trying to be ass. All right, because right, because like obviously Vin Diesel and like Paul Walker and a lot of the cast members, they kind of breed a sense of like energy and humor and wackiness
Mhm.
into the series. But there's something so identifiable about like the way The Rock does it in his movies, especially like his like Brendan Fraser era of movies we're
Yeah.
going through right now. Um, that is all over like Fast Five, Fast Six, Fast Six, and Furious Eight, and eighth one, right? That's like there's no way that these movies would have had the same kind of humor if The Rock wasn't in it. It
Mm.
like down to like him uh flexing and breaking his cast,
Oh, yeah.
or oh my god, why like almost broke the movie for me. Like I hate this. Hopefully, thankfully, he's only in it for like another 5 seconds. Okay, because I can't handle The Rock in these things. Um, to like kicking the missile, like because like it's over the top, but it's doing it in service of The Rock and like the way he makes movies, not the way these movies are made.
I heard maybe you saw the same article I did, but supposedly he has a contract where he it's not basically the contract shields him from getting beat up or being shown as weak or something like that. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
seen
no,
it.
that's common for a lot of actors and movie stars, like Sylvester Stallone and Jean-Claude Van Damme at the same kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah, uh,
Okay, okay.
like you should probably watch like Demolition Man for that kind of thing too. I think Wesley Snipes was also a little bit of that. So it makes like their fights kind of fun. It's also coming to full force with Hobbs and Shaw because they I think there's like a thing where they got hit the same amount of times.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's right. I do remember saying something like that.
but the thing is, right? Like, yeah, that's about those movies is that those. That's why like five through like four through six are like no man's land for me. Like they're on the bottom tier. They're not the worst, but they're on the bottom. Mainly,
Wow.
mainly because like that kind of sensibility. Well, four because it's like it's almost like eight where like almost nothing happens.
Yeah, it's a weird one, but for me it's eight was no four was kind of like I could compare it to Avengers Age of Ultron. It was all just set up for what's to come.
Yeah, exactly. I don't mind it like in that way, but like five was just terrible to me. Like just because
Oh, bro,
five was bad. Six
bro.
six was even worse. Six was
What?
even worse. Yes, I can't stand these ones. I really can't. Like again, it's like that's where we disagree.
Oh.
It's where we just because every time like the Rog's on screen, every time I think it loses sight of itself. Like four, I don't even though I don't like it that much because nothing happens. It still has the
Mhm.
same kind of story and world and environment that kind of leaves and breathes in. That kind of very like especially you see a lot with like Paul Walker's like FBI boring job, right? It's like yeah,
Yeah.
he's like very straight laced, and then he's dropped back into like this ultra like urban hip hop like rap infused environment. It's all like style and flash and like that's the stuff that was exactly what the point of the first one was. That's exactly what the point
Mhm.
of the second one was. Even the third one, and it's kind of like Japanese Tokyo kind of way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like so I like it when it has that kind of distinction. Like you see a lot in Furious 7 too, where just the way it's cut, it's edited, the action and the music, like
Mhm.
it feels very cheesy, but it feels very cheesy in service of being like overly flashy, overly stylistic. But like 5, 6, and like parts of 7, it's just overly doing the flashiness in the service of being funny.
I feel like the the Rock being involved and whatnot. Um, I don't know. Like I enjoy the progression of the movies because it's like I mean, one side of me wishes that I really do wish I really wish there was more street racing involved because I think that's really what the premise of Fast and Furious was. It was like it was a street racing movie, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, the first one, and the second one became like a crime thriller.
Yeah, it was a crime thriller, and
And
I felt like after three, you know, then went to four, and then once The Rock got involved, I was like, okay, you know what, like they still have their street racing elements inside, but like it's becoming more of an action e type
comedy,
movie,
action
and
comedy.
and I felt that what was I gonna say? I feel like I lost my train of thought. I felt that it was necessary. Like this is a franchise that's growing, so they're obviously not gonna stick to the same street race stuff, but they're gonna
Yeah,
incorporate it in, but they're gonna do more as a result of it. So
yeah,
and even when you include the whole family aspect, I just felt like over time it just grew into I think that's why it's so popular now is
yeah,
because
yeah,
it
definitely.
wasn't just a street racing thing. It was just it's street racing, it's family, but you
Yeah.
also now you have to deal with real world threats.
Mhm. I don't mind any of that. Actually like that story that's doing a lot more. My mind was just that the tone has was shifting in a way that wasn't enjoyable at all.
Mm.
The tone, like the way the humor was, the way like the interaction were, the dynamics, the style of it, it just felt really off. And then like Furious 7 goes along, and it feels like such a return to form. Like even when like they're dropping off from like helicopters with parachutes onto
Oh,
their cars,
that
it
was
feels
amazing.
exactly it feels like a Fast and Furious movie. It feels like okay, no, even though they're doing crazy stuff, the way it's presented is a lot more like in keeping with the story or like the world and the characters. Like that part where like they race through one building to the next in like the ultra rare car and make a point of saying it's ultra rare, like only three exist.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and that's what I like because it places emphasis on like the gaudiness of it, like on the excess. I want when they make like the jokes and the humor and like the sort of personality about the excess of this world, like through the music and
Hmm.
through like the partying and the clubs and like the rallies and like the concerts, all that kind of shit. That's why I feel like it feels like I can accept and I understand the humor of that because
Oh.
like when they first go to Dubai, right? And they have like
Hmm.
that one shot where they get out of their cars and like you see the flickering, like them
Yeah.
coming out and then coming out like their suits and dresses, like that's Fast and
That
Furious to
was
me.
fresh. I'm not gonna
Exactly.
lie, that was
Like
fresh.
it was funny, but also like yes, this is cool. And it's not like oh no, is Roman peeing in his car because he's so scared? That shit I hate.
I got you. Oh, I see what you're saying. It's just like you you enjoy I don't want to say the over the topness, but
Attitude,
in a certain
attitude,
way. Yeah,
like
the
attitude.
attitude. There you go. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I
But
get you. I
but
get you.
but then the Rock calling someone jabroni is like no,
Dude, you know
not
what was I thought was the most ridiculous thing
it.
in Furious was it Furious 7? Is when the rock bottoms.
Oh yeah. Again, like no, like that's the thing. That's the thing. Like I can't. So like so that's my reservation for Fast Nine is like John Cena's here and John Cena is kind of the same. Where he has like this silliness to him and
Hmm.
I better not say that. And then Cypher, like I don't give a shit about Cypher at all. Um, I don't like her gimmick of like controlling cars was cool, but it's only used in like one scene. Like
Yeah.
when they could have used that like so much more times and it would have been so effective. Um, but yeah, no, that's my issue with it. But then I saw Hobbs and Shaw. I saw Hobbs and Shaw and Fast Eight at the same time. I didn't see Fast
Oh,
Eight. I didn't see Fast Eight until like 2 months ago.
really?
Yeah, because I saw the trailer and I hate The Rock in these movies. Like I made a point.
Holy crap.
So like you know what? Furious 7 was really good and it had a great ending. It felt like it had a finality to it. This isn't about like Tokyo or anything like that. I'm not saying anything new here. I'm just seeing more rock, more silliness, more really bad humor. I'm
Mm.
stepping away. And so I didn't watch it until like 2 months ago on HBO, on my HBO streaming app. And right next to it was also Hobbs and Shaw. So I watched Fast 8 and then Hobbs and Shaw, and Hobbs and Shaw is pretty damn good. It's like the thing is right. It's stupid and silly, but it's not like silly in the way that is like overly juvenile
Yeah,
or like that. It like the thing is like with Rock in the Fast series, like like directly, it's all the humor is about like how cool he is.
yeah.
But in Hobbs and Shaw, the humor is about how he's like the straight man.
Hmm.
Like in the comedy deal, you have like the wacky one, and you have the one
Yeah.
who gets to the butt of all the jokes.
Hmm.
In Hobbs and Shaw, Shaw is the wacky one, and Shaw and Hobbs is like the stuffy one, the uptight one who gets all the jokes put on. Like that's great because it makes The Rock part of the humor and not just above it.
I got you. I
So
got
like
you.
I had a lot more fun with that.
So if anything, we're saying just like Hobbs and Shaw, like because they're so removed from the Fast and Furious franchise, just like it knows itself, it knows
More.
the characters, it knows the actors as well.
Yeah, it's able to, because if it didn't even reference Fast and Furious at all, it would be just a pretty good like buddy comedy.
Yeah,
Like
I thought it was. I thought it was. I need to watch it again because
I
when I
enjoy it.
first,
I enjoy it.
I thought it was decent, but maybe it's maybe now that some time has passed, I can let my bias about it go. I think maybe it's probably a movie that's aged fairly well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like from the get go, I understood like what it was going for. Like it's very over the top, but over the top in a way that is meant to just be over the top. It's not like, hey, this will make people laugh. Like, no, we're going for a very stylistic, very direct, focused approach here of being silly, not just like, hey, we're being wacky and goofy and like 12-year-olds will laugh at this, that kind of thing. Like the very beginning is like a very nice shot where like you see
Hmm.
like them going around their days, you know,
Yeah.
like that's fun. That's fun. Like it's such a simple and really clever, joke and gag. Like when you do that kind of like buddy comedy like thing. So like I enjoyed it. It's like Shanghai Nights,
Yeah, I
that kind of
think I'll
thing.
give it. I think I'll give it another go, and
Yeah,
probably even after that rewatch, I'll probably even more open. You know, I'll be more open for the part two. That's supposed to be coming.
yeah. That's so,
If it's coming anymore.
yeah. That's why when we were saying when we were doing that video, like when it's like was Hobbs and Shaw 2 gonna be canceled? Like I hope it isn't, but I hope that whatever plots that has to do with Shaw get handled in Fast 9 and Fast 10 because there's like Hobbs and Shaw, if it gets a sequel, deserves to actually be a sequel.
Yeah, and I feel like you know they've put themselves in interesting places because just like if they were to do Fast Nine well and close that off, and even in Fast 10 or 11, that just lets Hobbs and Shaw like really be its own thing. So
Yeah,
like you can't go into Hobbs and Shaw too. It's like, oh, how come they didn't do this? My dude, they handled that in Fast Nine. They handled that in Fast 10 or 11.
exactly.
So now it lets it lets Hobbs continue to grow as a character, and it lets Shaw continue to grow as his own man
Yeah,
as well, and just we can take them into new territories,
exactly.
both characters, and we don't got to worry about what happened, like
It's like
whatever.
it's like the Wolverine trilogy for the X-Men cinematic universe, you know?
Exactly.
Like they start at a place where like it's so connected, and then like as you go along, they become more and more of their own thing.
Yeah, and then I think that's. I mean, I feel like if you're going to do that, if this is a route that you want to stick to, I think that's probably the best because even the Wolverine, they're able to wrap up. I'm gonna say wrap up, but they're able to touch up on his story in the X-Men movies
Yeah,
alongside his
actually
solo
telling
movies as well.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
your first like Origins like just entirely about the first X-Men movie. It's not even about the rest of X-Men movies. It's entirely meant to set up the first X-Men movie. And which is silly as hell, but that's what it does. And so it's like you can't watch it without like knowing at least what happens in the first one. And then the
Yeah.
second one, it's like half a sequel to X-Men 3 and then half its own thing. And
Hmm.
Logan is entirely its own thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they're in a good spot to again make that work. But we are for damn who it's like 45 minutes talking about fast.
Make it two parts, release part one, Fast and Furious discussion, part two, DC discussion.
But yeah, I have you here. So yeah, we got a lot of news
Yes.
over the past couple weeks,
All right.
now that COVID is starting to lessen up and comics go back to normal. So the big thing right now in DC Comics, at least on my realm, is we have Dark Knight's death metal, and we
Yes.
have the Joker War.
Yeah.
I know there's some other stuff coming out as well, but I know these two are like the hot topics right now. So I kind of
Yes.
wanted to get your opinions on that because I know me and you. That's one thing I love about our relationship. Is just like me and you tend to be on like I want to say total opposites. We come together when we need to, but
Yes.
ours because you've been in the comic book world more than I have,
Yes.
so I enjoy what you have to say about
Yeah.
these things and what the
Yeah.
future is for DC.
Yes. Again, like this is a perfect example because right now I've been in comics world, like this realm and like industry and all this kind of stuff, like touching upon what's going on in DC for a long time now. Reading kind of consistently for like 10 years now. Um, that stuff like that you're saying is big in what you are in your realm of comics,
Mm-hmm.
Twitter. I haven't heard a lick of it.
What?
Exactly. like
Wait,
like
what?
like the people I know, the people my mutuals, like we the main event kind of stuff is like the least interesting stuff to us. I haven't no one ever touches upon it. Like we're talking about more niche stuff like the third stringers, B list kind of stuff, other publishers like 2000 AD, that kind of thing. If DC, like I think the most I've heard like in terms of like actual news is that we have a bunch of stories and series that aren't like high profile ones that aren't going to be printing like physical issues anymore. Like
Yeah.
of course, they're bringing back like physical issues for some stories,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of them are going to be digital only for like the rest of the time now. Like there's no plans to like do physical issues again for these series. They're not canceled, but they're going to be going digital first, digital only. Uh,
Um, is it the Metal Man? I'm assuming is one of them.
Middleman might be one of them. Again, I wasn't able to go into like a physical comic shop. I think that the latest issue was digital first. A lot of digital series, a lot of DC comics now are coming out on Tuesday, and then like obviously physical ones on Wednesday. But
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been to a comic shop in like ages. I think the one near where I work is like all like having like a fundraiser to not shut down
Mm-hmm.
because like I think that we haven't even unlocked them in New York right now. So that's a shame, yeah. But you have stuff like I think Metal Man. You had Supergirl, which got canceled.
Yeah.
You have the Terrifics, which I don't think is canceled, but that's digital. It's going digital only soon too.
Oh, I
And
thought it was canceled.
is
Canceled.
it was it canceled? Canceled? Odd are getting canceled. Some aren't. And it's insane. It really is.
Oh wow, I heard it was canceled, but
It might be. It might be.
it could yeah.
It might be just giving a couple of these like issues to like run out
Mm-hmm.
before they're over. Uh,
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, that might be it. It might be where I get confused. I think Realman still has a little bit more time left, but Supergirl like only has like one issue left, and that's it.
Oh, that's a Supergirl. I feel like it was doomed from the beginning, and because
Yes.
I remember the first time it did get canceled, but I think Bendis was somehow able to bring him back, maybe with the same creative team or new creative team, and then Supergirl was able to coexist with what he was doing with Superman. Because I remember there was like a little crossover, but then after that, it got wrapped up in Event Hell,
Yes.
which killed the book.
A lot of things do, and Supergirl, even from the beginning of the New 52, was that was a big issue with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for like the last 5 or 6 years, Supergirl has been in event hell, like even events that have nothing to do with it. Like I remember like one big part of Supergirl in New 52 was that there was a Green Lantern event, and Supergirl got pushed into that, and it ruined that run for a lot of people.
Oh,
So it's been a series that hasn't like had like a really solid stretch of time, and so I'm not surprised that it got canceled. It's a shame, but a bunch of people are saying that if you get one through events, a lot of series do events well. They can
mhm.
handle events really well, but when you're like a well-known series like that, you need a strong direction, a strong character base, and your character is dependent on other characters all the time. You're not going to get
it's
anywhere.
it's not gonna work. I feel like I want to say Supergirl was the only. I think that was the only one left that was still doing Year of the Villain stuff,
Yeah,
which was really weird
yeah,
because Batman and Superman, which is where most of the stuff started from, that ditched that. Justice League. I mean, what Justice League? is doing something else right now. But everything else ditching, Supergirl was still there.
Yeah.
And even then, I think Year the Villain Hella Risen was already over and done with too. So it's like, what in the I don't know. Poor
Yeah.
series, man. Poor
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, I feel for that. And so like just like to get back to what you were saying about like
Yeah.
death metal and Joker War. Um Death metal I'm excited for that. Mainly because I enjoyed most of metal. I thought most of it was really good, really fun,
Hmm.
but had no ending. It had no ending. Like
But yeah.
the last two pages are insulting. Like I'm almost like here's my theory. All right, like that ending is still going on. It's gonna be a big twist that ending because there's no way that happened. Like they're Superman and Batman are trapped, and then like the next page is oh wait no we're safe and we're having a dinner party.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Well, I feel like oh I feel like Snyder slapped me in the face. Like this is he insulted me as a reader for that bullshit. All right. So I like again, like the most of it was fun. Most of it I thought was overwritten. I think Snyder's problem with like superhero comics, especially big ones, is that
Hmm.
he tries really hard to like be exciting and fun and kind of like hey we're being comic booky,
Hmm.
like but his writing style is a lot more I guess like eloquent and sophisticated.
Hmm.
Like when he reads stuff like American Vampire and his horror stuff, you get a sense that he's a very educated writer. He knows how to like set a scene, very mood, very atmospheric.
Hmm.
So when he tries to do like very like popcorn, bubblegum, like Saturday morning cartoon style stuff, which he seems to really want to do, it doesn't work that well. Sometimes
Yeah.
it works, but sometimes it feels like he's trying too hard and his skills get in the way of his intent.
I think that was my biggest issue with the Justice League run, his recent one.
Mm.
Um, there was a lot of cool moments there, but I think he got in his own way,
Yes.
and there was for me there was a lot more telling, but not enough showing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I mean. Is
Yeah, it's
like is that when Snyder writes horror comics, he tells a lot because in horror, you set the stage, you set the
mm-hmm,
mood, you set like the way a reader is supposed to feel, so they believe in how they feel. But like with like Williamson as well does a lot. Snyder does it a lot. Tini does a lot.
mm-hmm.
They try to set the stage, but what they really are is just stretching things out.
That exactly that is exactly
You
it.
lose the energy. Superhero comics are all about energy. They're not about like mood. They're more about like getting the adrenaline up, and
And
they
like
can't.
you can still you can still do that and still you can get the adrenaline up and you can still tell, but it's just like it just has to be executed in a way that works.
Yeah,
And
like
my problem with the Justice League run was that that's what it was. He I think he brought the JSA back, and there's all this stuff with Perpetua, the Source Wall, and he I think he even did some stuff with Hawkman as well. So there was a lot of things there, but when it really came down to making that ending stick or what the big finale was supposed to be, it didn't do that. And I think one of the biggest disappointments I had was the Justice Doom War, because I say it all the time on the timeline, that was not a war. All it was just like it was just both sides playing chess, and then at the end of it all, the heroes are asked out, Perpetua wins, and then boom, it's we were left on a cliffhanger for all the way until now.
that's what I knew from the start was gonna happen. Like when Snyder started his run, I read like the first couple issues, and it's like it's so much flowery philosophical bullshit. And like I can understand what he's going for. He's trying to be as like kind of you ever read like a Morrison comic like a real Morrison comic. Like he does the same kind of thing where he tries to get like the philosophical idea, like the meta nature of the idea across. And Morrison fumbles at it too sometimes, but he does a little bit better than Snyder because Snyder really tries to ape that intent. And and I realized that like hey, he's trying to do like this really exciting idea, but like Justice League versus Legion of Doom. But then he says like, what does Doom mean?
Yeah,
Like fuck
we know
off.
what it means.
Like you're getting like you had this really great idea. The Legion of Doom is like one of the coolest like supervillain teams of all time. But then you start like to like you get rid of that coolness, you get rid of that excitement when you're like, but doom means fate and change. Like fuck off.
Oh my god.
This is not Lord of the Rings, the book. All right.
Like, dude, all I just want to see is the Justice League and the Legion of Doom scrap, bro. That's the only reason why I'm reading this comic book. I didn't come here for everything else. Like, everything else is cool.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
but
But
there's a way to do it without losing
yeah.
the sight. Like that's why I think that okay, Johns can do this. Probably the best out of anyone. Because I'm saying this best by way of like of being exciting. There's ways to do it where like the philosophical version where the philosophical side is really well done, that the
Mm-hmm.
excitement is like kind of plot B. But with Johns, like the excitement is plot A, but the philosophical stuff, the kind of idea, conceptual stuff is plot B. And he does it really well. Like you read comics, you read stories like even like Shazam or Batman Earth One, or not his Just League run, but other stuff he's written where
Mm-hmm.
it's all about like the action and like the very kind of imposing moments, but then he's able to craft here and there a very humanistic moment that makes you sort of think about what's going on as an undercurrent.
And actually, I would piggyback off of that because you recommended me to read Forever Evil,
Yes.
which I'm still going through because Jesus, that is the way you set it up, dude, is freakishly long.
I know. If I could go back, I would trim it up a little bit. I would trim it a little bit. The thing is, like the thing is, I thought even all the tie-ins. I actually had requests to make it longer.
Really?
At the time I was making it on like 4chan,
Mm-hmm.
the comics board of 4chan, and there was like this other tie-in comic that was about like what another version of what the other members of the Justice Society, I mean, Crime Syndicate was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and like we gotta include this because it's Crime Syndicate stuff. Like I can't. This is too long. There's no way. Because like the way I try to make it so that everything kind of like made sense to where it
Mm-hmm.
goes next. Like either like a character is going someplace or a character says something about something else, and so you have a flow. But there's some things that are just too much. I don't blame you if you skip.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm reading everything in order because like at first I was just like, well, I wonder what would just be like if I just read it in the order that I find online. But then when I read yours, it's like, yeah, this just flows way too well.
Yeah, I know it does.
Yeah, just to get back to that, you know, what we were saying, just like, yeah, I can see a lot of that, you know, in Forever Evil,
Yeah.
because again, you have the main plot, the crime syndicate comes, takes over, whatever, but then you also just have, you know, that the plot point of, you know, um, them being evil, you know, like
Yes.
what does
What
it
does it
mean to
mean
be
to be
evil?
evil? Exactly.
Yeah, it's like where are they coming from? Like what happened? Why did they become evil?
How
Like
far are you in?
um I'm at the point where I think Batman just came back with Catwoman.
All right. So you read the Outsider issue, right?
Refresh my memory.
The Earth 3 Alfred.
Yes, yes.
That issue is probably like the best issue at that in the entire event, because it, what it's about is because you see not only Owlman in his element, but you also see the Joker in his element.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the Rosetta Stone for what Johns is trying to say about Crime Syndicate and about Earth 3. Because Earth 3 is such like a simple concept. Oh, an Earth where the people who are usually villains are heroes and the people who are usually heroes are villains. That's it. That's the bare bones you need for Earth 3. And
Mm-hmm.
then Johns does is like, okay, so if that means that like the most powerful people on the world, the people who populate most of the people who populate the entire world as like the powerful figures are evil, and the reverse is like people who are trying to do good, that means the entire world is set to evil. Like in the regular universe, good wins.
Mm-hmm.
They take a while, but good wins. Our universe, evil will always win. There's no way about it. So if you make heroes, like people who are trying to do heroic things in that world, it must mean that whatever they do, their intent, the actions, the consequences will always be bad. Like
Mm-hmm.
so you have like Owlman, his reasoning is that he like this is true too. I think the original Owlman in like the Silver Age was like a mind controller. He could like brain control people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so like John make that just like totalitarianism, dystopian dictatorship over Gotham. And so you have like Joker being a freedom fighter, but then you show the consequences of that. Like he's like it's like the Dark Knight, or where like Two Face and Joker are like telling Batman, you have to sink to our level, right?
Yeah.
And Joker in Earth 3 sinks to that level. All right, he it hurts him. He's a good guy, but there's no other way to be a hero than to do what has to be done. And by the end, and by the end, like for reveal was meant to be longer than it was.
Hmm.
But you need to understand like that idea of like what it means to be a hero on Earth 3 for the ending to make sense.
And I feel like,
Because the final issue does get rushed and doesn't explain a lot because it's meant to be longer. But if you understand that about Earth 3 Joker, you understand the ending.
and I think that's probably a lot of what I feel like um was missed. Like that, I feel like that substance got lost in Snyder's run.
Yeah, exactly. Because he tries too hard to like play it up, and John's like confronts it head on. So you feel the impact, but it doesn't slow it down.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know. I feel like before death metal comes, which is a couple weeks actually.
Yeah,
Like I want to sit down and I kind of want to sit down and reread that entire Justice League run just to see if it hits hard, or if I missed anything. But still, it's just like it. I don't know. It initially on the first point, it missed it for me. But then again, that could just have a lot to do with, you know, the timing. I heard, I was hearing, there was some time conflicts. Maybe they were stretching it out because Doomsday Clock was being delayed. I don't know. I feel like there was a bunch of other things that affected it. But I think my hope for death metal is just like, um, uh, here's the thing with death metal is the story alone does not interest me. It
yeah,
doesn't. It
yeah,
doesn't. It. What's the best way I could describe it? It sounds like your typical. I don't know. It sounds like a typical run. I don't know, like a
yeah,
typical
exactly.
storyline, a typical arc.
Yeah,
What I'm more interested in is the aftermath of it, because as we know, Dan Didio, left DC,
yes,
and
yeah,
he had such. I guess he was trying to clean up, all the continuity, mishaps, errors, but supposedly death metal is supposed to take on all of that. So
yeah,
that's what I care for. Like, I want to see, how they're gonna bring in Crisis, how are they gonna bring in, Infinite. How are they gonna do this? Because the DC timeline is pretty botched. Like,
yeah,
there's so many things happening. So that's what I care about. I don't really care about, you know, what the hell. I don't care about a buff Superman. I
yeah.
don't
No,
care about a dinosaur Batman. Just
he's like, that's what I like to think that I think that they're banking on you caring about that shit. Like again, that's what I don't care. Exactly, I agree with you entirely because it's like, oh, look how wacky and crazy and silly this is, which I feel was a lot of what Snyder was trying to do, and a lot of what people like will say is good about Snyder, but no, it's not. It's the actual like kind of impactful moments that make it work. With Metal, it was that my favorite part of Metal is like is that scene where they figure out like the multiversal chord song to the universe.
oh, that was raw.
Like because it's such a great moment because it's so small.
Hmm.
It's just two kids having fun playing music together. Like that. It's that like that imagination spot where like young Batman and young Superman are like at the Kent farm just rocking out on their like guitars having fun. Like that's a great moment because they're at their lowest point. They're basically just fucked at that point.
Hmm.
And but then they imagine together like what a song that we can use to save the world right now, and they figure it out, and just by connecting to each other, and like that's a great human moment. All right,
Yeah.
and it's the best part of the entire series for me, bar none. And it's pretty much the same thing that I guess Morrison does in Final Crisis. But Ken, because Snyder is very influenced by Morrison.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's my favorite thing. But then people are like, oh, but look, it's a dinosaur Batman and Superman has long
Man,
hair.
I don't give a.
Exactly.
Oh, like I,
Yeah.
I don't know, the way he's been hyping it up, and then the way I've seen other people hyping it up, I'm just like, you can't be serious right now, dude. You can't. Like, I honestly feel like it was. I'm gonna choose my words carefully here.
Yeah.
I kind of want to say it was a blessing and a curse at the same time for Dan Didio to leave, because the blessing is that you know
We don't get his terrible
because
plans for 5G anymore.
yeah, the blessing, the 5G stuff, but at the same time too, like, whatever he was gonna do with that gets incorporated into death metal.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you right now, if death metal before Didio, if that's what it was gonna be, I don't think I would have picked it up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now, because it's not interesting enough for me. But now that we know, this is gonna have some lasting effects. It's gonna be cleaning up, what's going to be happening moving forward, and hopefully
Mhm.
everything is one cohesive, timeline. That's what I care about.
Yeah, definitely.
Because and literally, I'm going to be reading each and every single issue, wondering just like, all right, man, yo, when are we going to get to the Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff? When are we going to get to the stuff that's happening with Doctor Manhattan and Wally West, if we can even
Yeah.
call him Wally West anymore? What's going to be happening with that? Like, I don't care for to meathead shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I always try to like avoid saying that because it feels so mean, but that's exactly it. Like people, it's the same thing I feel you see a lot with like TV shows and comics and cartoons like that, movies even, where a movie can be like a movie show, a cartoon, anything can be like so boring, but it'll have like one wacky thing, and people
Mhm.
will spam the fuck out of that, being like, "This is GOAT." No, it's just boring with
No.
like one good idea that doesn't mean anything. It makes no difference. That's that's how I felt with like Legends of Tomorrow season one.
Mm.
I know we have different ideas on this kind of shit.
Oh no, I
Uh,
thought that shit was I thought that shit was kind of whack too,
oh
but
yeah, that too. But like,
yeah.
but when it was happening, season one and two, right? Even
Hmm.
people will take like random clips and it'd be like, "See, this show is so good at being comic booky." No, it's not. It's boring as fuck, and you pick like 2 seconds that are weird about it.
Yeah. Another thing too is just like one thing hopefully I'm not wrong. Hopefully I'm not wrong. But one thing I do like is just like death metal seems very condensed this time around because the first metal it was it affected everybody.
Yeah,
I think there was a bunch of tie-ins.
yeah.
There was a bunch of one-shots. It was a super huge event. That was actually one of my complaints about it. Was just like I feel like everything could have just been chopped down
Hmm.
and made a lot more simpler.
Yeah,
But with death metal, it seems like we're just gonna have the main books, and I think we're gonna have two tie-ins,
yeah.
and I think if I'm not mistaken, that's it.
They don't seem to be that important tie-ins either. They seem to be like just like more backstory, more origins. Like, fine, that's cool. That's decent. Um, I think that if they even had any plans for more tie-ins, they probably got like cut off
Yeah.
because there's no way to organize that shit anymore now.
Oh yeah, no, that and even and even then, like one of the things I did enjoy about the Times also is just like the characters that it used, and even the characters that they used back then are no longer available to them now because we had the Gotham Resistance. That was like a whole tie-in series, but Green Arrow's tied up with whatever Bendis is doing. Nightwing is not Nightwing anymore. Harley Quinn is in Gotham. So like that entire crew is gone, and I don't think
Yeah,
anybody else would really care for other heroes that they potentially may use.
yeah,
I'd just like to wrap this up. So
yes.
what are you hoping comes out of this in terms of like DC moving forward? Because it seems like there's talks of another reboot potentially. Death metal could possibly be the big reboot. So what
Yes.
do you hope moving forward? In terms of what you didn't like with Rebirth. You
My
know.
all right. I guess my main hope would be like, of course, with like Dan Dio's kind of relaunch reboot plans, gone and Dan Dio gone. And I said this before, like my own podcast on my Twitter and everything like that. Um, that I hope that second string and third string titles and series and ongoings don't get neglected. Like I don't like you can reboot the universe as much as you want. You can use the main kind of core A-list characters where however you want. I don't care. Make 13 Batman series, cancel all the Superman books, give Wonder Woman another series. I don't doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. Unless they
Mhm.
turn out to be really good, and of course I'll read it. But overall, what DC has always been doing good at, what DC has been doing really well, even in periods where they've been coming out with like complete crap or haven't come out with anything good at all. What they've done well is make second rate and third string books that are completely gold. That
Mhm.
that books that you don't really hear about that are like maybe modern classics in the making. All right. And a lot of that was because Dandy Deal. A lot of that was because publishers and editors in charge of things were able to foster that like under the shadow of everything else. So
Mhm.
so whether it's going off like a reboot or metal or 5G or whatever or Diamond Hand, I hope that doesn't get neglected. Because I think that there's been a lot that came out of Rebirth. There's a lot that came out of like the Bendis switch up and it's a lot that could be coming out now. Like Metal Men, it's not like perfect, but I think that has a chance of being a really interesting, really solid,
Mm-hmm.
satisfying story. That could stand the time if it is able to round it out a bit. And March Manhunter, which ended just recently, like a couple months ago, was a modern class in the making. And these are stories you don't really hear about that much because they're not important, they're not canon, um,
Mm.
they're not doing anything at all even, but they're done by writers and creative teams that want to tell a special story, even if it doesn't matter. They want to tell this story, and have it out there. So hopefully that continues.
Okay, okay. But and what about for like more of like the universe stuff, like the more in canon stuff? What do you hope to see with that? Because
All right,
I know I know you and me have like very strong opinions on that.
all right.
And
All right. My plan stuff. I hope that someone good comes onto Flash for the first time in like 7 years. All right. Williamson sucked ass. Oh my god.
Oh
He,
man.
he consistently came up with like good first issue to an arc, terrible rest of the issues every time. Oh my god, Rogues Reloaded, Rogues Rebirth was probably like ace in the hole, and he wasted that stuff so badly. He wasted Reverse Flash or Professor Zoom. We gotta bring Professor Zoom back. I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah, so he is back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta bring that name back too. We keep calling him Reverse Flash and shit. No, Professor Zoom. All right, it's a Silver Age ass name, but the Flash is Silver Age stuff. You have Heat, you have Weather Wizard, Captain Cold, Mirror Master. Yeah, keep giving him these names. Calling him Reverse Flash is boring as shit. But stuff like that. Hopefully, we get a writer that can actually create a series and run for the Flash, be it Wally or Barry or whoever,
Hmm.
um, that is exciting, fun, and knows how to use these characters. Williamson, I think Williamson is a big Flash fan, but much like I said with Tinian and Snyder, he doesn't know how to write it. The best writing he's probably ever done in the series was like 2 pages of the Reverse Flash arc from the beginning of his run,
Hmm.
but because Reverse Flash is or Reverse Zoom is really easy to write for. He's petty. And so like these 2 pages
Yeah.
where Barry races home and Reverse Flash is like waiting on his couch, and like just like he starts bullshitting him, is perfect. But everything else is just boring as hell, and it's a shame because he keeps fumbling really great ideas. Like the Renegades, bringing back the Renegades was a fucking amazing idea. Boring. Bringing back Tornado Twins, amazing idea. Boring.
Boring.
Everything's Turtle, boring. Year one, boring, insane. It's insane. So hopefully we get something good on. Hopefully we get like another Green Lantern title, because even though I admire and appreciate what Morrison and Liam Sharp are doing on the Green Lantern season 1 and 2,
Hmm.
it's not accessible. So hopefully we get something good out of that. Jeff Johns has said that he maybe wants to write more um, Green Lantern stuff, and he's writing, I guess, like an epilogue to his run in the upcoming 80th anniversary one shot.
Hmm.
I can't wait to read because he has his little short story for the Flash set during his run on the Wally West run back in like early 2000s for the Flash 80th anniversary one shot was like spectacular. It's just about Captain Cold going out to get some beer, and
I
then
remember that one. That was good.
yes, because Wally's like, what's he doing? What's his plan? And Captain Cold's like just drinking and
I just want
talking.
a beer,
Yes,
please,
yeah. Like
please.
what's he planning? What's his next big heist? And Captain Cold is just like watching television. Perfect,
That's it.
great. Yeah, like so he can still write, and hopefully we get some more from him. I know he's stepping away from DC stuff. For a little bit, he said he wants to focus on his creator own things, which I think is a bad idea because uh, he needs the foundation. He needs like the legacy stuff. But
Mm.
that's really my hope. Like Flash, please be good. Green Lantern, please have more stuff, and everything else can kind of go to hell. I don't. Bendis Bendis is like a parasite. He's not going to leave anytime soon. So I could get rid of anyone. I'd get rid of him too. Legion of Superheroes is the most disappointing thing. I love Legion of Superheroes. Me and a couple of friends, like a decade ago, read through the entire series from the very beginning up to like the modern day, and
Hmm.
it's such a wild and vibrant like franchise in DC. It's a whole universe to itself, and it keeps getting bad writers who only want to make it Justice League in the future, and that's what Bendis is doing. And Bendis is not even doing it in an interesting way. Planet
He,
Gotham, Batman 3000, that kind of shit. Who gives a fuck?
like, I've heard. I've been keeping tabs on it, and I remember before Legion came out, like that was being hyped up the ass, and
Yeah,
then when it came out, it was just like, wow, I
because
stopped hearing about this, and
he
I
can't
see
write.
why.
He can't write. And the thing is, right? Okay, like I know, this is very kind of. I've said it before. Bendis only does things to get headlines. So
Mm.
he'll make Miles Morales for a headline, and he'll do all things for a headline. But one thing I can't believe he didn't do was make Feral Lad black. He didn't make Feral Lad fucking black. It's an ace in the hole because like Feral Lad, I told you about this before. Feral Lad was meant to be like one of the first like black DC hero characters,
Hmm.
but then they didn't let the writer make him black. So the writer was like, "That's the whole point of this character." So he killed him off, and the way he killed him off was one of the most famous stories in history of DC. Anyway, so it all worked out. But the one thing is that no version of Feral Lad since then has ever been black. And like
Uh,
and Bendis will do whatever he wants with like race just to get headlines. He'll make a character Asian. He'll make a character like
and from the bag, pretty much.
yeah, exactly. So you're like, hey, look, see, this is a new character. Make a movie out of them. And we've got Legion of Superheroes. He made several characters black, but he didn't make Feral Lad black, and that's annoying as shit.
Oh man, but yeah, I'll piggyback off of that and give you what my hopes are. And I'll start with Bendis. I think one of my biggest problems with DC right now, even though I'm not as seasoned as you are,
Yeah,
it seems as if like there's a bunch of older guys, writing certain books,
yeah,
and these books should be getting more attention, but just off the strength that these older guys writing them, um, I don't know, just their ideas or whatever are kind of dated. They don't work, and that's why I don't hear people talking about Superman anymore. And if they do talk about Superman, it's to say it's not great. And this is crazy because we just came off of Tomasi's run. We just came off of Dan Jurgens' run, and I didn't really care for Tomasi's run, much. But there was a lot of gold in there, and Dan Jurgens' run for Action Comics, there was a lot of gold in there as well. Like I remember, even though I didn't buy them consistently, but there was a bunch of arcs that I was like, "Yo, this looks good," and I would buy it, and I didn't regret spending the money. Bendis, it was just like I bought like the first 20 issues of his run, and towards the tail end of it, before I said no, I'm like, this ain't good. The same thing with Action Comics. It's like I think he started off well, then he kind of just went off the rails. And so I would love to see, you know, somebody new on Superman. I know me and you. I think he's not going to last 50 issues or 100 issues, but Bendis more than I do.
yeah,
You know his work more than I do, so he probably just might.
yes.
Uh,
He usually doesn't go unless he wants to go. He's milked it dry,
yeah. So
like a tick.
so I would love to see somebody new on Superman. Um, Also, I would love to see the Titans treated better. Um, and again, it could be put a young writer on there, somebody who has fresh ideas. I want the Titans to be treated better. Just everything that happened with them was just left a bad taste in my mouth. Let's see here. I would love for Green Arrow to get another run and a run with a consistent writer. I think one of the biggest problems I've had, one of the biggest problems with Green Arrow, it seems just like for every batch of issues, there was a brand new writer. And I think that probably killed the momentum, along the way too. And other than that, like I don't know, just kind of just clean up the continuity. Just feels like everything is kind of just happening all over the place. You know, I don't know, probably I don't know, for Justice League, I feel like one of the biggest missed opportunities that they had recently was, when Snyder's run had ended, what they did was they gave Robert Venditti the title, and everything that happened after Snyder's run took place before Snyder's run.
Exactly.
So, like, but at the same time, just like, well, you had a missed opportunity here because, yes, Batman, the core members of the Justice League are gone. but you have all these other members of the Justice League that you just made Justice League members. What are they doing when the Justice League is gone? How are they dealing with, the world turned to doom? Like what's happening on that end? So I love to see more of that, because
Mhm.
you know we you can make Batman shine in his own solo series. You can make Superman shine. You can make these other characters shine in their solo series, and they've had more than enough time to shine as a unit in Justice League.
Mhm.
Give give the shine to other members of the Justice League.
Exactly.
If it's not a 50 issue, if you want to make it like if you're not confident if you're not confident within a 100 issue run, make it 50. See what the reception is like. Test it out. Try it out. I think that's one thing I love to see. Something new, something fresh. Stop treating the legacy characters like shit. I don't know what's happening with Wally West. Hopefully by the end of this, he's back to normal. Because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember, one of my biggest memories, or one of my favorite memories with, reading Rebirth for the first time, like the big one shot, was seeing him come back. And I felt like, wow, Wally West is back. I didn't know what was happening before that, but he's back. This is a big deal.
Mhm.
And I want to see what they're going to do with him. This is going to be special. And ever since then, he's just been dragged through the mud. Same thing, with Nightwing and him. So I would just like to see the legacy characters treated more better. I want to see them try more different things, and I don't know. And hopefully, as a result of that, the morale is a little higher with DC, because I felt like we were on such a great high with Rebirth. I felt
Yes.
the energy there with Rebirth. I felt it like, and this was a great time for me to come into comic books. It was like, oh wow, this is great. And then as the years went on, I saw the morale just dip, 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 and now maybe it's coming back a little, but still it's not the same. So I would
Yeah.
like to see some consistency here. You know, Everything doesn't have to be perfect, but I would like to see them at least try.
Yes,
Maybe
definitely.
let's not have somebody who's micromanaging everything. Maybe let's not have a Tom King situation where what you do for one character who has an ongoing in one series, you want to kill him off in your book. You let's have people who are more conscious of what their actions are in one book, how that's gonna affect other books. Let's
Yeah, of
have
course.
more. Let's have more of that. And
Which
I
is what
think,
which is
oh,
what editors are meant to do, but they don't give a shit anymore.
yeah, they don't care, and it's that's was one it happened with Nightwing. Even Titans suffered as a result of, even when it was getting better. So I kind of just want to see more people, use common sense. I guess the lack of a better word, use common sense when it comes to these characters.
Hmm?
Yeah. But yeah. Oh wow, we are at the 1 minute 23 mark. So Elvis, man, where can they find you, brother?
All right, all right. So you can find me on my Twitter, where I'm usually just spouting off whatever random comic book nonsense comes to mind at THE_SNICKMAN. That's the Snickman. And also I run and I guess produce my own weekly comics podcast. It talks about comics, movies, and just shows all relating to comics or anything tangential that comes to mind. And that's the Unsourced Radio Show. You can find that on Twitter. You can find it on YouTube and on castbox.tv. And I also sometimes update a blog called Unsourced Wall itself. You can find it on WordPress. And I think my most recent post on that was talking about the M. Night Shyamalan superhero trilogy, which I'm still very proud of. And I'm proud of all of these. So, you can find me on all of those things.
All right, awesome, man. Elvis, thank you for coming through, man. I love chatting up with you, man. And
Mhm.
I'm serious. We will make something happen in the near future where we do this on a weekly basis, man. Because
Yes, I can't wait.
I love your comic book taste, and I love just chatting up with you
Yeah,
as
no,
well.
this was fun. Halfway through, you felt like 20 minutes. It's like an hour already. It's
I
insane.
know.
My favorite part was when we're like, let's start with Fast and Furious, and then we go on for like 30 minutes about CW shit.
I love it, man. But y'all, if you stuck around for this long, man, thank you. Please hit that
Yes.
subscribe. Please hit that like. Please
Mhm.
go show my man Elvis some love. And please, guys, um, practice social distancing, please. I
Yeah,
know
be
things.
safe.
Be safe. I know things are opening up, but please use common sense. Practice social distancing, and please be safe out there. I know it's a little crazy,
Mhm.
and yeah, just much love, much peace. Roliver Queen and Elvis are out.
Yes.